Perfect. Okay. We are recording, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you guys want to let me know that you can see my screen okay, and that would be great. You can type in the chat. Let me know you can see everything okay. Perfect. Great. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Wonderful. Okay, well, it is 9 a.m. Let's get started. I want to make sure that I respect your time and you guys get the most out of today's training. So welcome. I know we still have people hopping on. So my name is Lindsay Mirando. I am the Global Community Director for Hellobar, and I'm joined today by Jonathan, who is our Head of Customer Support and all things technology for Hellobar. So Jonathan is the right-hand man to the developers, and he is there and here to support you every single day with Hellobar questions, technical support, alongside any other support you may need. So Neil Patel, the founder, one of the co-founders of Hellobar, as you guys may or may not know, we brainstormed this past year on how we could provide a better experience for Hellobar customers, and we realized that a lot of our customers needed more support on how to use the software and how to get the most out of it. So my goal today is to really give you a tour of Hellobar, support you in better understanding how you can use it, and then also showing you how we use it, not only for Neil's site, but all of our clients' site that we work with, whether they be a small business or a Fortune 500 company, so you can really see our thought process and strategy behind it. So not only are you going to get a technical tour today, but you're also going to see kind of our strategy, our mindset, how we go about developing or putting pop-ups on websites. So before we begin, I just have a quick poll for you guys. I'm going to stop the share really quick so I can ask these questions. So I'd love for you to let me know, have you guys installed Hellobar script yet? So if you could just let me know so I can know where people are at if you've installed the Hellobar script. For those of you that have not, I'm going to show you briefly how to install it today. And I'm also going to put in the chat a Calendly link. So if today's too quick on the install, then you can set up a time to meet with me and I'll help you install it personally. So don't stress. For those of you that have installed it, bear with me as we go through a quick install to start, and then we'll move on to the actual marketing side of things and the tour of Hellobar. Okay, great, awesome. So then I have two more questions for you. I'm curious, if you were able to collect and send email addresses through Hellobar, would you actually use that feature? We're always trying to better understand our customer base and how we can best support you. So if you were able to actually not only put bars up on Hellobar, but actually collect the email addresses and use Hellobar to send emails, auto drip emails, and mass emails to your community, would you actually use it as part of a feature? Awesome. I will just give you a few more seconds to vote. I appreciate you guys. This helps us better understand you and better understand what features we can add into Hellobar. Okay, awesome. One more question for you to make sure that you get the most out of today's training is last poll. I want to know what the biggest challenge you're facing is with Hellobar. So what prompted you to show up today? Is it technology, how to use it, how to collect more email addresses, maybe how to get more sales, a combination, all of the above? That way I know how to better format this training. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people are not struggling as much with the technology. Some are, but mostly with the how to collect more email addresses and how to get more sales with it. And so a lot of all of the above. So this is a good combo. Okay, great. So again, I will be showing you not only the tour, but I'm also really gonna show you our mindset behind how we use Hellobar, the strategy behind it, how we approach it, and then how to best use it to collect more email addresses and get more sales. All right, so let's dive in so we can get the most out of today. One request, Jonathan's going to be helping me with the chat. So if you do have questions as we go along, go ahead and instead of using the Q&A box, use the chat box. And Jonathan will support me in answering those questions. And then in the end, we'll have plenty of time. I'll allow 15 minutes for Q&A. So any questions that he didn't get to or any questions that come up in the end, we'll take care of them in the end. Make sure you get all of your questions answered. You'll also get a recording in your inbox. Okay, your time is valuable, so let's get started and dive in. So when we start Hellobar, the first thing that we have to do, of course, is go ahead and, oh, welcome from California, awesome. The first thing we have to do is install, right? So for those of you that have not installed, when you drop into your account, you'll notice a prompt to install your bar script, okay? So a few options here. One, you can install the code yourself and grab the script and put it into the back end of your website. The next, which I'm going to show you really quick, is WordPress. I know a lot of people use WordPress. So if you use WordPress, then you would simply download the plugin, and I'll show you how to install it. If you have a web developer, you can email them straight away from Hellobar and get that taken care of, and the script can be sent over to them. Or of course, if you need help, Jonathan and myself are here to support you. So you can send a note in here. This will go straight to Jonathan. Or I put in the chat a Calendly link. You can set up a time with me. I'll help you install it. Just take really quick amount of time and we'll get it taken care of. So for those of you that are using WordPress, if you go over into the back end of your WordPress and you downloaded the plugin, so once you hit download, you'll notice that it'll go into your downloads and it'll become a zip file. From there, once you unlock the zip file, you'll see the Hellobar plugin. So you would launch into the back end of WordPress and you would go into the plugins and you would go add new, okay? From there, when you're in the back end, you'll go ahead and go to upload a plugin and you would choose the file. And you would choose your download file. Of course, my download file has somehow gone away. I don't know where it just went, but the WP, I'll just search it real quick. Perfect. So there's the plugin that you've downloaded. So you would go to open, and then you would just hit install now. Okay, so that's how you install it. Again, I wanted to go through this briefly. I know there's a few people on here who haven't installed. If you have installed, we're going to keep moving on. And if you need more support in installing, feel free to either hit the support button here or hit the Calendly link. Okay, so as we dive into Hellobar, one of the first and foremost things we start with before even going into creating a bar or doing anything like that is strategy, right? So we've got to think about what is the strategy behind creating the bar, the bell, the page takeover, and what do we really want to accomplish? So the first thing I tell everyone is look at your goal. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of websites make is they have too many goals. So they have a call to action here taking you to this, a call to action here taking to that, and suddenly you have a website that is super overwhelming and users are hopping off because they're not finding relevant messages, or maybe they're getting exhausted by all the messages that you're providing them, so they're kind of stepping back. Okay, so you really first and foremost have to think about your goal. What is the goal for your website? What is the goal that you want to accomplish? Do you want to get to grab more email addresses? Do you want to get people to click to maybe go over to get a quote? Maybe you're an e-commerce site and you want to give people a promo code and you simply just want them to click and go over to your shopping cart, add the promo code, and get over to the buyout, right? So everyone's very different. And in order to understand the goal, one of the best things I think you could do is ask yourself, where are people coming from? So if you have, let's say, for example, traffic that's coming from paid, so maybe you're doing Google AdWords or you're doing Facebook ads and you're getting a lot of paid traffic. So if you're getting a lot of paid traffic, maybe people don't know you that well when they're coming onto your website. So maybe a better idea to think about a long-term nurture, meaning maybe you collect their email addresses, get to know them a little bit better, then you do the sell. Okay, so that's an example of maybe they're not quite ready to buy, they're still exploring who you are. Another great example is someone that maybe already knows you. So for example, we have a client who was on Shark Tank, and people that go to his website already know him. They've seen him on Shark Tank, they know who he is, they're really excited by him. So by the time they get to his website, they actually already know who he is and they're pretty ready to buy his product because they saw it on Shark Tank. So in that case, instead of collecting email addresses, we actually decided to use a click goal. And when we switched over from collecting email addresses to get a promo code to just simply they click, here's the promo code, we saw a huge increase, almost a 50% increase in sales, just because of that one shift. And it was because the people that already got to the website, they were already super warm leads. They already knew this person. They were already ready to buy the products. They had already seen it. And so we knew, like, let's just get them over to the shop page. So first step is really thinking about your users. Where are they coming from, and where are they in the buying journey? Are they ready to go, or are they still super new and maybe not sure who you are, still investigating you? That will determine what you want to do next with Hellobar. Okay, so step one is figuring out your goal. And how that comes into about is if you go to create a new, because you're going to create a new Hellobar, we ask you, what is your goal, right? That's the first step. So again, if maybe people already know you and you have, or perhaps you're an e-commerce site and you've got like a product that's like a low budget product that is a easy sell, maybe you're going to go to promote a sale or discount. Another example of promoting a sale or a discount is perhaps if you are, let's say, a law office or a coach or some sort of service-based person that wants to get people to fill out an application or a consult form. A click goal would be the best way to go, right? Because you want to get them to click over to that form, fill it out, and then you can nurture them from there. E-commerce is another example, like I mentioned, where you may use a click goal. Talk to your visitors. You would choose this if you want them to call you. So you could put a mobile number in there. The two that we use the most with clients is promote a sale or discount or grow your mailing list. Now, here's an example of where you may use grow your email list. So perhaps your goal is just to collect more leads on your website. We've had clients come to us that maybe they don't have products and they're just building their community, or they've been around for a while and they just literally want to collect email addresses. Some of our clients get more money off of, they collect email addresses, they nurture them, and they, in the back end have affiliate links where people click over to. Some of our clients, want to get people to buy a big product, so they need more time to nurture them. So an example where we use grow your mail list for our client is we had a client that was doing paid traffic. So they didn't have really any organic traffic. All of it was coming from ads. And so they were trying to sell a bed. A bed is a very high priced item, right? So if we're going to do promote a sale or discount, someone's, coming from paid traffic, so they're a fairly cold lead. And then we're going to say, hey, buy this $2,000 bed. Probably not going to work out as well. So we knew we needed a little bit more time to nurture them. And their goal was, of course, to sell more beds and to collect more email addresses. So we chose the grow your mailing list goal and then created an offer from there. Okay, so that's an example of where you may want to choose grow your mailing list. Maybe you're a coach or a service base and you know that your product is high price point. It's going to take a little bit more time. Another example of where you might want to grow your mailing list instead of promote a sale or discount. So again, thinking about your goal, thinking about where your customers are in their buying journey, from there you can decide, okay, which one is going to make the most sense for me. Also, we'll talk about testing in this, right? Because we tested with our e-commerce client that I told you about a few seconds ago that was on Shark Tank. We initially tested a grow your email list goal. And although we found we were rapidly growing their email list, the sales weren't as high as we'd like them to be. And they are in e-commerce and the goal is to grow more sales. So we switched it, we did the same offer, but we just literally did a promote a sale or discount goal. And when we did that, we put the promo code right in the pop-up. And from there, we saw a 50% increase in sales just off of doing that, right? So you can totally test it, see what works, and switch the goal from there. Get more Facebook likes would just be if your goal was solely to get people over to your Facebook page and get more likes. That's an opportunity to integrate that. Or you can select other goals. But for today's sake, I'm going to go ahead and do promote a sale or discount. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you on a test site today, and our goal is to get more people to book travel on this website, the website that we're going to be using today, okay? So we want to get people to book travel with us, and we are a site where people are buying the travel off of the website. We're just using a use case example. So we're going to use the promote a sale or discount goal. Okay, I think I had one raise of hand. Awesome. I know that Jonathan's helping out with the installs. So that's great. Okay, so we'll keep going through. Again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. That way we can make sure to get all your questions answered. Okay, so this is something that I see that a lot of people have trouble with, which is what the heck do I say in Hellobar, right? Headlines do matter. Copy is one of the biggest things that's going to make a huge difference in your conversion. So for those of you that raised your hand and said, I want to collect more email addresses, I want to get more sales, it comes down to the copy. So you really want to think about, a headline that's going to catch people's attention. Also, a call to action or a button that's going to cause people to say, heck yes, I need this. Okay. So for the sake of this one, I pre-wrote a headline. But what I want to show you in this headline as to why I did these things is something that I think will support you in how you write your headline. So thinking about your ideal client for your website, where they are in their buying journey, you want to think about something that's going to be irresistible, something that's going to say, oh my gosh, yes, I need this. I'm going to click, or I'm going to put my email address in, right? So we want to get them to convert, meaning we want them to take the action, whether it be click is the goal for conversion or email is the goal for conversion. So thinking about that and going along those lines, we really have to start to think about, what we're going to say to them to get them to do that. In order to do that, you have to get inside your ideal client's head. You have to start thinking about what are their pain points? What are they going through? So for our use case that we're doing today, we want to get our clients to book travel. They're really busy and we want to make it as simple as possible for them. So in that case, knowing that they're just looking for a fast, quick, and easy way to book their trip, something that's affordable, then we've got to speak to that. So you'll see that I put find your perfect trip in under 30 seconds, right? Because we know they're busy, they want something quick. Plus get 20% savings on your entire trip. Notice the word entire, right? Entire shows them, wow, I can get 20% savings on everything. Enter code vacation upon checkout. And then the call to action is send me my 20% savings. So for the calls to action, you really want to get their buy-in. You'll notice on Neil's site, sometimes he'll use things like, heck yes, I'm in, or yes, I am in, or yes, I want more traffic. So Neil had a bar that converted really, really well. And it was a bar on the top of the website that said, show me how to get more traffic. Let me show, do you want me to show you how I get 180,000 more visitors a month? And it said, no, Neil, I don't, or yes, I want more traffic, right? And so people said, okay, yes, I definitely do. That converted really well. So getting people's buy-in with the call to action is really huge. Another example we could use is, let's say you're a health coach and you've got your ideal client is busy moms, right? So you know that moms are busy, you're a health coach, they come to you because you show really great recipes, healthy lifestyle, and how to do it quickly. So maybe you're going to give them your 7-day simple meal plan that can feed your family for under $50, or a 7-day quick meal plan that can, get meals in under 5 minutes, right? Thinking about things that someone's like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want. So again, going back to your goal, going back to where your current user is on the buyer's journey, and really giving them something that's enticing and exciting. I heard this years ago, and I think it's a really great phrase, is your free offer, so your free offer that you're getting people to opt in for, should be better than other people's paid offers, right? So what you want to give away shouldn't just be something that's, not very exciting or not very enticing, or just like join my newsletter list or join my email list. You want to think about an offer that someone's going to say, oh, heck yes, I'm in. Things that we've seen work really well these days, video series, those work really well and convert really well because people are like, wow, that's a pretty awesome offer, right? Maybe you have an old product that you can use that now you can give away for free because it's not selling anymore. Just thinking about something that could be a real incentive, okay? So from there, we're going to go ahead and put the text in and get started with creating this. Now, I know we told you in the email that we'll create this in under 5 minutes. Because I'm talking you through it, it's going to take a little bit longer. But really, you can create this pop-up in literally 5 minutes or less. It's pretty simple in Hellobar. So this is going to be the text, and then we're going to do the call to action is send me the 20% savings. And all you need to do, copy and paste it in, really, really simple. And I'll show you how to adjust this a little bit. And then this is you put the URL where you want people to go to, okay? So from there, we're gonna hit continue. So now at this point, you get to determine a lot of different things. But what I wanna start with is determining what type of Hellobar asset you're gonna use. So I like to say not all pop-ups are created equally. And the reason why is because of the fact that we use bars, modals, sliders, page takeovers for all different instances. Okay, so we don't always use a bar on a page. We don't always use a slider on a page. We don't always use a modal or page takeover. Really based on the goal, we decide what we're gonna use. So for example, a bar, we often use bars for promotions, okay? So if we have something that's a promotion that's happening, we use a bar for it, just so that people can see it, it's there, it's stuck there, and they really know what's happening. The main thing that we use a lot is a page takeover. And when we use page takeovers, I'll tell you why in a second, the reason why we use them mainly. But what I wanna backtrack for a second is going back to your goal. So how do you decide which one of these is gonna make the most sense? And the way that we determine it is we look at our clients' Google Analytics. And in the Google Analytics, we are specifically looking for what are the highest traffic pages, meaning where are people going on your website? Where are visitors going? What are the main pages that visitors are going to on your site? And that is how we determine what pages we're gonna go to, and then we start thinking about what style we're gonna use. And not only do we look at what are the top pages, we also look at what are the action steps that users are taking when they're on those pages. So are they bouncing off the page, meaning they're leaving the page really quickly? So if you look in Google Analytics, you'll see what the bounce rate is on a page. If the bounce rate's high, we know, okay, people are leaving. What may be a good idea is to do a page takeover upon exit, meaning that the page takeover takes over the entire page, and then deciding to do it on exit because we know people are leaving the site. So when someone goes to exit, let's give them an offer to try to save them. Or maybe you're finding out that people are on your page for a long period of time. Maybe they're on there for like 4 or 5 minutes, and you see that in Google Analytics. So a bar could be a great example of something you use because you know they're on the page and they are going to see it. And maybe you would do the bar. You would do the bar just immediately, and then it would scroll with them. And I'll show you how to do that so that it scrolls with them because you know that they're on your page, they're staying there. So let's keep the bar with them so they're reminded of it, right? So these are just things you want to start thinking about. What are people doing on your pages? Are they leaving? Are they staying? How long are they staying for? And these all come in to determine what type of style that you want to choose. Now, here's a tip that we have found. Page takeovers upon exit we have found to convert far higher than modals, which are pop-up window in the middle. The reason why is Google did a lot of research, a lot of surveys, found that page takeovers, because they took over the entire page as opposed to the middle of it, users were saying that they weren't as annoyed with the page takeovers versus the modals. So you'll notice like on neilpatel.com and a lot of other sites that we work with, we actually mainly use page takeovers now. So for the sake of today, I'm gonna actually show you a page takeover, okay? So once you choose your type, then from there you get to choose the template that you want to select. So for today, we're going to choose French rose. And the reason why I'm going to choose French rose is because I want to use a picture in the background, and French rose allows you to do that background picture because this, website that we're going to be putting the pop-up on, like we said, we want to get people to book their trip. We want to entice them and get them excited about their trip and show that it's easy and simple. And I want to show a beautiful picture of, someone on vacation. So someone's like, oh, that looks really nice. I want to be there. Okay. So that's why I'm choosing French rose. But of course, all of these templates are available. A note too, auto detect colors from site. If you don't have color codes for your site, you're not sure what they are, you can actually just auto detect the colors from the site. Also, Chrome has a little color picker, I believe it's called, and you can use that to just literally, you install it here and you drop on your site and you can pick the colors and it'll show you what the color codes are, okay? So we're gonna select French rose. So you can select your theme, right? And then here's the next step that you wanna take. When does it display? So this is what I was talking about earlier. So based on user behavior, based on what is happening on your website, you want to determine when it displays. So I would say, it's a page takeover. Let's say, for example, we find that people are just leaving our website a lot, so the bounce rate is really high. Then I'm going to use the user intends to leave, which basically means that when somebody goes and hits the URL bar, then from there, this pop-up and page takeover will take over the entire page. Okay, notice there's an X here so they can click out of it, so it makes it really simple. Again, if you find that people are on your page for a while, you could choose a delay. So you could say 10, 30, or 60 seconds. Something to think about is really user experience. So you don't want to get people complaining. I find that people complain if something pops up super often or right away. So I would really suggest using a time delay, 10 seconds, 30, or 60, depending on how many people are staying on the pages on your website, okay? So for this, we're gonna use the user intends to leave. From there, you'll hit next, you've got your theme. This is where you could put in your color codes. So you could either use the color picker, like I said, you could use the auto detect on the site, or you could put in your own color codes. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and use an image. Now you wanna make sure to turn off default image so that you can use your own image. And from there, I have a little image that I put, like I said, I got this from a stock photo site, Fotolia. I wanted to show someone on vacation. So when thinking about your image, you really want to, again, going back to your ideal client, thinking about what's going to appeal to them, what's going to get them, excited. And that's an important thing. Imagery is important. So you want to make sure that it looks good. It's not pixelated, meaning that it's not blurry. So getting a high quality image, and really making sure that the imagery looks good and it pertains to what you're talking about, right? So if we had a picture of people in business suits here, that wouldn't really make sense. But because we have a picture of someone on vacation, it makes total sense because we're trying to get people to book their vacation. We're trying to make it very appealing to them and exciting for them. Okay, I'm gonna do a brief pause. I know we had some raising of hands, so I just wanna make sure I'm not missing anything before we keep going forward. If you raised your hand, feel free to type in the chat, because all I can see is your raised hand, so I can't see why. So if you want to type in the chat, or feel free, we'll be doing Q&A in about 10 to 15 minutes, so don't worry, all of your questions will be answered. But yes, if you raised your hand, feel free to put in the chat what your question was, because I don't see any in there right now. Okay, so from there, we've picked our imagery, but now we've got to make a few changes, right? Because you'll see that, the text is kind of over there, and it's getting, it's hard to read. Okay, Tony, does the takeover happen for every site visit, or can you space it out so it only appears after several visits? Great question, Tony. I'll address that in like 2 minutes. But yes, you can space it out, and I heavily suggest that you do space it out. That way you're making the best experience possible for users. So you can say, I only want this pop-up to happen every 7 times, or I only want this pop-up to happen every 3 times. That way somebody isn't getting the pop-up every single time and they aren't getting frustrated with it. So 100%, Tony, you can do that. Okay, so from there, you literally have your text, and if you highlight it, you can make changes within here. So you can make it bold, you can make it underlined. Things to think about is, I wouldn't use too many colors here. I would make sure that you just use maybe sticking to 2, max 3 colors, okay? So in this case, I'm gonna say, find your trip in perfect trip in just 30 seconds, plus get 30% off. I'm gonna make this 2 different lines because I really want, one, for it to, I wanna make sure that it's not like blending in, and 2, because I want to make sure it stands out. So you can also take, like, for example, the enter your code vacation on checkout. We could take that, we could put that below in the caption below. So you can actually change font sizes in here. You can change colors in here. You can do everything you want from straight away in here. So thinking about, what colors will really stick out? How can I make this image, or how can I make these colors really stick out properly? A tip here, this is really important, and it's kind of crazy to think about, but the prettiest pop-ups do not always convert the best. So when you're thinking about this, keep it really simple. Obviously, these colors don't really look great, but I just kind of wanted to show you what you can do. But keep it really simple, easy for people to read. And, when you're messing around with your image and trying to figure out what works the best in here, just make it look really clean and easy and simple so that people know, they see the call to action, they know what you're trying to give them, and it's really easy to read. Okay, James, is there a way to integrate this with the current site CRM. So we can put a dynamic text like maybe greet by user name. I'm going to let Jonathan answer that question. Jonathan, I'm going to put this in the chat because that's more of a technical question. I want to make sure that we get the right answer for you on that, James. So thanks for asking. Okay, so again, prettiest pop-ups don't always convert the best. So thinking about how can I just make the text really readable, really simple, and stand out. And again, you can make these things bigger from in here and all that good stuff. That was a little too big, but you can make it big, bold, you can do underline, you can do all of that. So really thinking about simple, clean, and easy to read, okay? So from there, you've got your image, and I don't want to fiddle around with this too much because I want to make sure I get to your questions and also show you a few more key things that can happen in here. Okay, so cookie duration. This was the question from Tony. Tony, this is where you would change it. So you would do the number of days before the opt-in will display again. So you could do 5, 6, 7. You can choose however many days. We have been doing anywhere from 3 to 7 recently with a client. We started with 2 and then we upped it to 7 because it was based on user feedback. We found that people were getting it too often. So I would say anywhere between those is a really safe bet. And you would keep your success duration at 0. That way, if somebody does opt in, they are not getting the pop-up again. So that's really important because you don't want someone to get the same offer again, right? That's where we start to tap into annoying users a bit. So cookie duration is where you can make those shifts. Now from there, I want to talk about changing your target audience. For those of you that you're on your free version, you won't have the custom rule section. For those of you that are on the paid version, you will. And for those of you that like the custom rule section, see the targeting, and think it's a good option for you, all you have to do is hit want more power within Hellobar and you'll be able to upgrade to having targeting and rules. So there's a few options here. One, you can show this to everyone. One, you can show it just to mobile visitors. The other is homepage visitors, or you can create a custom rule. Now, here's a tip here on how we test. So how we test our pop-ups on client sites is we start with a few different pages to start, and then from there, we find a winning variation, meaning we find a pop-up that works really well, and then we put it site-wide. So how do we determine what pages we're going to test on? Well, going back to looking at the Google Analytics, we look at the highest traffic pages so we can get the most pool of people to test on. We do the test, and then from there, we see how people are reacting, how things are functioning, how things are working, and then if we find the winning test, and then we can put it site-wide. So I heavily suggest starting with just a few variations on a few pages. Another tip, this is very important, and this is something that I totally messed up on when I first started testing, is you don't want to test too many variables at once. Meaning, if you're going to create this pop-up, don't create a variation and change the text and change the image, and then create another variation and change the text and change the image and test them against each other, because we're not going to know what's the variable that's making the difference. So to start, this is a tip from Neil, is he always starts with just testing text, right? So we'd use the same graphic and then we'd create maybe 3 variations with different text. Then we'd see which text works the best. From there, we can test a graphic, see which graphic converts the best. Then we get our best winning pop-up that converts the best. Then we go forward and we put that site-wide. Now, what is a good conversion percentage? So I would say aiming for 2 to 3% conversion on your website, and I'll show you where you can see those stats in Hellobar, is a great conversion percentage. If you get upwards of that, amazing. But getting to that 2 to 3% is where you want to be. That is the sweet spot. So just so you know, when you're thinking about, okay, where do I want my test to be at so that I can start to put it site-wide? Okay, so creating a custom rule, I'm going to show you how to create custom targeting. So let's say we only want this to be on our blog pages. So you would name, the rule, what you want it to be. A note to keep organized, I would definitely create some sort of naming cultures for your targeting. That way you say, okay, this is my blog targeting. This is my, let's say, shop targeting. If you have shop pages, this is my et cetera targeting. Otherwise, it gets a little confusing. So all you need to do with targeting, for those of you that are able to do it, or for those of you who want to upgrade and do it, you simply create, your name, so blog pages, and then you hit the plus sign. From there, you can decide how you want to target people. So for targeting, the reason and purpose to use targeting is so that you only show people certain messages on certain pages, right? So this is where we start to get to the nitty-gritty on user behavior, what they're currently doing on websites, and only showing them certain relevant messages at certain times. So this is where we start to get a little bit more in detail for those of you that are advanced or intermediate in marketing. For those of you that are beginners, don't stress. There's some really simple targeting rules that I'm going to show you today that you could start to implement immediately that will totally support you and make it really simple. Okay, so for my advanced people, there's a lot of different options here. You can choose from, only showing people things based on ad campaigns, sources, ad terms, city, country, date, device, every how many sessions. So you could say, I only want to show them this every 7 sessions based on number of visits. So you could say this person, once they've come 4 times, then I want to show them this offer. So maybe perhaps going back to that paid advertising example, if you have paid advertising, right, and you know that your leads are cold when they get to your site, maybe you only want to show them the offer to buy something after they've been to your site 4 times. Because at that point, okay, they're a little bit warmer lead. So just starting to get the mindset, again, into user behavior. What are they doing? Where are they coming from? So you can decide how to target. Maybe it's previous page URLs. So the previous page they came from was, this blog page. So now I want to show them this offer. Maybe it's a shop page. So maybe perhaps they were on your shop page prior and they're on a new page now. So you want to show them like that particular product that they were looking at. Refer domain, so where people are coming from, region, state, time. There's all these different things that you can use. For my newbies out there, or even intermediate and advanced, one of the main ones we use is URL path. So you could do a very specific URL path. So you could say it's this page on my website. Let's say it's just /blog. And let's say that it was like a specific blog post. So you could say, I want to show it to them when their URL path is blog 123. Okay, so that's an option. The other option is you could say their URL path includes. So for this, and I don't want to go too nitty gritty, but let's say you are a blogger, you have a lot of blogs, and you want to show them this message on every blog page. So as long as after your backslash on your website, so for example, hellobar.com/blog, and then it's blog 123, blog 345, whatever it may be, as long as that blog text is in there, it will show them the message. So if you do URL path includes and you do like a word that you have in every one of those URL paths, it will show up for that specific URL path, okay? So that's an example of just some different ways that you can do targeting. If you want to do multiple targeting features under one rule, then you can definitely do, the URL path includes this as well, and this as well. And you can keep hitting the plus sign and going ahead and adding more targeting rules. So there's plenty of options here under targeting. Again, the main one we use is either the URL path includes or the URL path is. And we put what URL path we want to show these messages to people. So this allows you to start really getting in users' head and deciding, okay, for example, let's say you have a dog food store, maybe your Petco. So when people are on the dog food site or page, I want to show them an offer for dog food. When they're on the cat food page, I want to show them an offer for cat food. Okay, so these are just the different options that you have here. For the sake of today, I'm just simply going to say homepage visitors. And so we've got that. We've got our targeting. I only want to show it to them once every 7 times. Once they have successfully opted in, I don't want to show it to them anymore. Okay, so then from there, you just simply hit save and publish. And it'll take you back to your Hellobar main screen, okay? So we've got find your perfect trip, and this is my my page takeover that I just created. A few different options I want to show you in here, and then we'll go ahead and hop into Q&A. So you'll notice that there's an option to create a variation, right? So a few things you could do. You can edit from this little tab. You can create a variation. So for example, for this page takeover, I would create a text variation. Again, I wouldn't create a graphical variation. I would create a text variation. So you would go to create a variation, and from there you could create, you could change the text, and you would have a different text variation, and then you can test them against each other. So maybe it's find your perfect trip today instead, and we want to change that slight text and we want to change the button to heck yes, I am in, right? So you can make any changes you want for that variation. Again, I would start with just the text. I wouldn't make it too complex. That way you actually know what's working and not. You just hit next. You go to save and publish. And now you've got two variations, right? So right here, you've got this variation, and you see you've got an A and B. So now we've got our two tests running. Now, how long do you let these tests run for? Okay, we standardly wait at least 3 weeks and let the tests run. But Hellobar is really great because it'll actually show you a little star. You'll see a little star symbol once they've found the winning variation. So Hellobar does the work for you. It makes it really simple and shows you the winning variation. Then from there, once you find the winning variation, you could just literally go to this and go to pause and then keep the one running and maybe change the pages that you put it on. Okay, so yeah, you can create variations from here. You can pause it, you can actually remove it, and you can edit it. Again, I would choose about 3 different tests, let them run for a few weeks, see what wins, and then from there, if you're still not happy with the results, you can write more copy, get a copy variation that works really well, again, up to that 2 to 3%, then you can start thinking about the graphical variations, okay? So once you've done that, once you've created it, as long as everything's installed, you'll go to your homepage and it will go ahead and show up on the homepage. Again, you have to make sure that is installed because if it's not installed, then it's not going to show up. So these are some of the broad overview picture. This is the process that we use within our clients' pages. This is how we really look at what strategy we want to use. Again, we test for about 3 weeks. We see what works. We see what doesn't. We only usually start with 3 to 5 pages that we test on. I know it sounds really simple, but think of it like a drug trial, right? You've got to get a really good pool of people. That's why you're going to your highest traffic pages. Get those people, do the test, figure out what's going to work, what's not work. Then you can release it to the mass market. So then you can put it on your website. But if you release it to the mass market before you've actually done the trial, you're not really sure what's going to work and what's not going to work. Then you might start to interrupt user behavior. You might find that people aren't converting as well. So that's the biggest tip I would say is really test it just on a few pages and get into your user's head. Really think about their behavior. Think about what they're doing. Where are they in their buyer journey? Are they ready to go? They're ready to buy, or are they super new and you need to still nurture them? And really start creating things from there, creating your offers from there. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to you guys. I want to have enough time for your questions. So fire away what questions you have. You can put them in the chat below. Let us know what's coming up, something that maybe is specific to you. If there's questions about sales, questions about email capture, marketing, you name it, or technical questions, we are here to support you. So you can simply just go in the chat, post it for us, and we will get your questions answered. Let's see, I'm checking the chat right now. See what we got here. Okay, I think Jonathan answered. Okay, Jonathan answered the question on how to get more Facebook-like users, so that is answered. So yes, you can use the goal for Facebook likes to get that. That's a really big common question, is how to get more Facebook-like users. So you can certainly use that goal. And thinking about, again, you guys, I can't emphasize enough, you've got to think about your offer, what is going to entice your users. And another great thing is to look at what other people are using for offers, right? So go onto websites, click to exit, see what their exit intent looks like, see what they're using for pop-ups, see what they're using for bars, and really think about okay, what is going to appeal and get my users excited? It doesn't have to be this long drawn out, video series or things like that, but really thinking about what's going to get them excited. And entice them. James, does Hellobar support video content? We don't host video content, so you couldn't upload your video content on there. However, what you could do, James, and this is an option, is when you are in Hellobar, there's an option that comes up that says, and I breezed right by it, but I'll show you real quick. Let me share my screen. There is a thank you page option, and I'm glad you brought that up. So one thing I would suggest in the thank you page option is you could put your video content on that thank you page, because we do have an option for the thank you page to actually put a URL there. So let's see, why is this not showing up for me? Probably because it's a click goal, maybe. So if I change this to an email, you could do, James, there's a thank you page option for the email. So you could do a custom message, or you could do redirect to a URL, and you could actually put a page on your website that had the video, or you could redirect it directly to the video itself, whether it be on Vimeo or YouTube. So although we don't host videos, there is an option to put that on the thank you page. Yes, great one, Jonathan. So there is an option to have a GIF as an image as well. So you can definitely get a GIF developed and pop it into Hellobar, and then you can have like an animated pop-up. You'll notice on Neil's site, he has a GIF when you exit. So it's kind of a fun little thing that's a visual appealing thing that people get excited about. Oh, great. Thanks, Kurt. I'm super excited. I appreciate the feedback. I really appreciate it. What other questions? Any other challenges you guys are facing? Anything that's coming up? I want to make sure that you get all your questions answered. There will be a replay that will be sent to you via email. So if you're shy and don't want to ask your questions here in the chat, feel free to hit reply, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I will also include that Calendly link in there so you can sign up to help with an install if you have anything that's coming up. But I do want to answer any other questions you guys have, technical, marketing, if there's specific challenges you're facing. Oh, awesome, Tony. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that this supported you, and thanks for the feedback. Also, you guys, if there are future trainings you want us to do, now's the time. Tell us. We are all ears. Have a really big goal this year of just being like hyper focused on educating our Hellobar community and providing as much support as possible. That is what I am dedicated to. So we're all ears. If there's any trainings you want to hear about, any marketing trainings, anything at all, you let us know. If you are doing an e-commerce, how many products did you feature on a takeover? Is one the limit? Such a great question. So this goes back. This goes back to, thinking about what your goal is. So on the page takeover, I would, if you're going to feature a product, I would only feature one. So if you're going to say, grab my lotion, I'm trying to think of an example, grab my cocoa lotion at 20% savings, enter the promo code upon exit, I would do just one. This is one of the biggest problems that I see happening with pop-ups and on websites, is that there's too many offers. There's too many offers, and then a user gets overwhelmed and they don't know what steps to take because we're not taking them down the customer journey. So I really encourage you guys to write out the customer journey. What steps do you want them to take, and only do one goal at a time. So if you want to promote your e-commerce, I would just focus on either giving a 20% savings on your entire store or focusing on one product, okay? If you want to get more registrants for a service, I would focus on just doing that. Don't overwhelm your visitors. Just think about what is your overall goal, what is your goal for your business, and really focus on that in the pop-up. Otherwise, people are going to be really overwhelmed if you're trying to give them multiple different offers. So it's the same with websites. You really got to keep it simple. You've got to put yourself in your user's shoes and make the path really simple for them. So I hope that answers your question. There's a Facebook page. Kurt, there is a Facebook page for Hellobar, just like a fan page. And then we have a Twitter as well. But stay tuned. In the spring, we are working on a community to better support you guys at Facebook community. So I'm excited for that. Sherry, love to see an example of a Facebook campaign. Okay, awesome. definitely. Can you tell me what specifically you'd like to see, Sherry, when you're talking about a Facebook campaign? We've had a lot of questions on Facebook, so I'm curious. Do you want to see like how to push someone from Facebook to Hellobar, or do you want to see an example of on Hellobar trying to get more likes on Facebook? Tell me what you're looking for, and we can definitely support in that in one of our future trainings. Dan, awesome. Thank you. Really, really appreciate your feedback. And happy that you're here, and thank you everyone for being here. Any other final questions before we hop off? I want to be respectful of everyone's time and not take too much, but I want to also make sure your questions are answered. So, okay, perfect, Sherry, definitely. We can talk about that. I'll make sure to talk about that in our next training of how it works to grab more followers on Facebook. That's been coming up a lot, so I definitely want to give you guys the support on that. So I'll talk about that in the next training. Just so you know, we do these every Thursday at 9 a.m. It does follow a similar format. I may be mixing it up as we move forward. It's just a matter of based on your guys' feedback. So don't hesitate to let us know any feedback that you guys have or what you'd like to see shift or change. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. We're wrapping up a little early, but I don't see any other questions. So as I mentioned, you guys will get a replay email with the replay link. So this has all been recorded for you. Feel free to respond to that with questions, as well as the Calendly link if you need further support on installs. And don't hesitate to let me know any feedback to make this better or more supportive of you. You guys have a wonderful day out there, and thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Jonathan, for all your help on that. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to be here with us. Have a wonderful day.